Welcome, Sojourners. This is Jonathan with Sojourners Awake. We recorded this episode a while back on a Sunday, and it is called The Introduction to Bramble Heartwood. It's a simple adventure in which the Sojourners, Felthrin, Felix, and Hay, go wandering back into Grovelore to find that it's overrun with lizard folk and the cult of the dragon. This starts to explore the quest of the rise of Tiamat, as well as introduce one of our newer players, Bramble Heartwood, a Hinfolk scout from Red Larch. So hopefully you enjoyed this episode as much fun as we had telling it. And so for now, our story continues.
Felix, Felthrin, and Hay stood before the foreboding forest of Cryptogarden. Once this land had been in an occupation of the Grovelore clan of dwarves, and once the orcs raided through, Granny Nightshade seized the opportunity and sold the land to Lady Runedeath. However, Lady Runedeath, who now lay dead in her estate in Neverwinter Wood, now joined Nightshade in the afterlife, and their contract was nullified. Up for claim, this forest stood as a formidable defense along the Sword Coast, with the Sword Mountains to the north and west as a border, and the High Road to the east. This garden enjoyed many luxuries of defense and trade. The snow fell heavily this morning before the entrance to Grovelore, the unassuming small stone entryway, the underground stronghold of the Grovelore clan. Felthrin, you are standing before a very familiar sight. This stone archway that is nestled inside the wood stands before in the mountain and has no runes, but the classic dwarven architecture, letting you know there is an underground citadel. What are some responses, and what are you doing as we're approaching this area?
He's looking around, he's getting excited, he's trying to recognize anything that he can see, places that he would remember right outside of the Grovelore cave, and just trying to take it in. Maybe talking to the guys a little bit, quietly and respectfully, knowing that we're going into a hostile situation, but definitely leading the way and making sure that he's taken the little side trails that he knows about that won't slow them down, but will keep them a little bit less noticeable. Guys, there's a grove of trees over here we used to sit in, and if we turn this corner here, it's gonna be right there. It's a beautiful grove of trees. It's snowed in now, but maybe we can light a fire there after we're done. And just a few hundred feet beyond that is a little lake. I hope it's still there. It's been a long time. And then maybe another quarter mile beyond that will be to Grovelore.
Stone archway that you see inside the city, or inside the cavernous halls of the Sword Coast Mountains, with no dwarven runes on the outside letting you know this is classic dwarven architecture. But when you look into the grove and you see the specific copse of trees, you notice that there are remnants of a campsite, a crude and disorganized campsite with all kinds of bags, fires that are put out, bedrolls that are left untucked. Felix, as you're looking around this campsite in Grovelore, right outside the entrance, is anything in particular of interest to you?
Is there any fresh, how fresh are the, were there any tracks, it's been snowing, right? So there have been tracks ahead of us, are they fresh?
With fresh snow, no, the snow is freshly falling. However, you can make a survival check to determine the length of time this campsite's been here.
18.
It looks like the campsite has been fresh. There's been about maybe 1 day leftover supplies. One thing you do notice around here is there's lots of remnants of reptilian folk, bones that have been gnawed clean, and there's a mix of different kinds of human clothing that is left behind. But most of the camping supplies are just bones that have been gnawed through, crudely made weapons, and the weapons themselves are not very well taken care of.
Those lizard people camped here about a day ago.
Hey, I would like a Constitution saving throw for you, since we've established you are susceptible to the cold.
16.
Okay, you're holding up this time. Although the snow is freshly falling, the wind is not blowing really, but it's of course a very cold temperature. As you're looking around the campsite, anything particular you look for?
I would say that Felix has been staring in the direction that I would have chosen originally, so I find myself drawn instead to looking for signs of salvageable food, signs of animals that have moved through here recently.
Make an investigation check as you kind of rummage through some of the packs.
17.
You find a little remnants of food, like a string of fruits that have been preserved and dried, and they're kind of like strung together like a necklace.
I'll put it with my squirrel jerky.
You also receive a scrap of paper that simply says the Desert of Scorna.
Desert of Scorna.
Mm-hmm.
Is that SK or SC?
SC. Like to scorn.
I just, I start muttering Scorna, 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 over and over.
That doesn't mean anything to me, or does it?
When you begin to hear him chant it out loud, you recognize the Desert of Scorna. It's a far-off eastern desert full of volcanoes and calderas, nearly uninhabitable, wild wasteland and badlands of dust and mountains.
I said the Desert of Scorna?
Yeah. So Felthrin, if you want to respond to hey. Otherwise, Felix, anything else you want to do in this campsite?
It's all just a bunch of like lizard people stuff, so probably nothing I'd be interested. Oh, well, maybe no, because I do like shiny things. Do I see any shiny things?
Investigation check.
Sure.
There is one simple item. It looks like a very crude, rusty blade, but as you pick it up, you get as your powers have been like starting to grow, and you're more attuned to magic in the area. Something about this blade is very appealing to you. And it's just a simple dagger, looks rusty, poorly used and underkept. But you sense there's something more about the dagger than there appears to be. And it's kind of thrown into the remains of the litter pile. The snow begins to fall, nearly covering up the entire campsite. You've been here for about 30 minutes now, kind of looking around.
Whoever's he's not here now. Can we get going so it's not so out in the open?
Basil says, "Yeah, that might be a good idea."
Basil, okay, go.
Hey, if we want to stay out here, that's fine with me. Otherwise, it does seem like someone's gonna return here pretty soon.
Go this way. There's a place that we can look inside a little better without being seen as well. And I'll lead them over towards the gate, but just kind of know how I can look in and should be able to see a little bit down the hallway without being completely obvious.
Okay. As you go through Felthrin, you're the first one to enter into the cave. You find a short little stout studded leather armor hanging like a trophy on a pike right inside the entrance to Grovelore. First thing you walk into.
All right. Felthrin will pull his hammer out and have it ready to hit whoever. He's gonna look around Hey, Felix, and hey, look, looks like somebody's armor. Maybe they're in here.
I'm looking down the hall further, using the devil's sight.
Okay.
How big is this armor? Can I like take it?
Halfling size, about 3 foot tall. 3 foot tall person size, custom made. Look like it may be for a child.
Does it look valuable? Maybe it's custom.
It's not. It doesn't look especially valuable. It's well made, but nothing fancy. No frills.
Just regular gold on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I leave it.
Okay, it's hanging on the pike. Hey, as you look down, you see the forest of green trees capped with snow opens into a clear stone floor below you. The ground below furnishes the pavement of fine stonework depicting a map of the Sword Coast, each detail etched fine in the grooves and ridges. Before this yard of stone stands a tall arched doorway, boasting each cut boulder holding up the others, until a bright keystone displays the face of a dwarven king. The doors have been battered down, crumbling into wood, charred and overrun with moss. Yawning before the Sojourners, and beyond lay the citadel of Grovelore. You are inside the atrium.
Felthrin will tap the bottom of the keystone if he can. I think he can with his hammer as he walks through. Just kind of a sign of appreciation and honor for his clan.
And as you stare on with your devil's sight, hey, you can see at the very end is a winding staircase that is descending even further. Felthrin, as you pass by and tap this dwarven king, you recognize it as King Oleander, the last standing king of Grovelore, before this place was completely overrun. You remember that right before you left, there was great infighting, struggles between power, where once the dwarves had delved into the ground using their power and strength and their energy to collect the minerals from the earth. They had begun to collect minerals from their fellow men. Giving in to deceit and greed amongst themselves, they began not to work together, but to work separately and fell into infighting. The last day you left Grovelore, a huge dispute broke out, tearing apart father and son, mother and child, brother and brother. Grovelore had become split. I'll let you decide if you want to share any of this with your fellow mates.
Yeah, I think in a sad moment he would say, I remember that my people were not getting along, and not all of us supported King Oleander anymore. The day that Grovelore fell was a particularly rough day. It's part of the reason why I wasn't in Grovelore when the raid happened. I was frustrated and couldn't understand why people wouldn't support King Oleander, and I was out working in the fields trying to clear my mind and decide how I could help. And that's when I heard the screaming. By the time I got back, most were dead. The rest were gone.
I'm sorry. That sounds terrible.
But we're here now,
Oh, mate.
and we can let's reclaim Grovelore for the dwarves. Give them a chance to redeem this once great place.
And as you look around, Felthrin, you see most of the stonework is still intact. There's much value to be had here in Grovelore. Besides the bridge, the wall, the door that has fallen down, battered away to rams. Everything else looks pristine. Not much has been done. But you do hear a small scuttering and a muffled sound in the corner. Hey, you're the first to notice it, but in the darkness, there's a small halfling man who is chained to the wall, and guarded by him are two cultists that are bearing crossbows and scimitars. They have dragon faces pulled down below them as masks, hiding their identities. They pull back the robes and they say, "Halt! Who goes there?"
What are you doing? Who is that? Why do you have him in chains?
"It is a prisoner of the Church of Tiamat. Who are you? Speak. Announce yourselves."
Hey! And I just run at him.
Hey, Felix Felthrin.
I am Felthrin of Grovelore. I've come to redeem this place for the dwarves.
This place belongs to Tiamat, none other the goddess of all creation. Show yourself to be in her favor, or you will suffer her blade.
Did Hay just rush at them?
He is
Yes.
rushing, so
Yeah, I
Felix,
shoot
you
an
have...
arrow. I shoot an arrow towards the one that he's like rushing at.
All right, let's roll initiative.
Yeah, Felthrin's following.
Brandon, you're currently restrained, but I want, before we start, to describe your character.
Okay. So Bramble is a halfling. He's currently not clothed like an adventurer. He's clothed like a prisoner. There's not a whole lot going on with his, there's not a lot to describe, I guess, about what he's wearing. Just a little more than a loincloth, essentially.
Okay. Burr.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe it's a fur loincloth then.
Okay.
And yeah, shackled to the wall,
right, so
looking pretty bleak.
Okay, so Brandon, you are currently restrained, and they don't have you, Bramble, sorry, they don't have you completely tied down in like chain manacles, but you have your arms behind your back, and they are currently torturing you, asking you questions, interrogating you. So moments before this happened, right as Hay stepped in, the dragon thing approaches you and says, "Listen up, Mr. Halfling Man. You would tell us, what do you know of the plans for the church? If you comply quietly, we'll let you go. No questions asked. Easy enough." The other guard is standing beside you, a very large, burly man with a shaved head, very silent. The other one is skinny and wiry with a long, crooked nose. He's pointing a dagger at your neck.
Bramble sets his jaw and he's determined not to say anything.
That's right.
Ooh. Okay. Take 6 points of slashing damage then.
Well, it's been fun, Brandon. Welcome.
You think you are so cunning. What did you hear? What did you see? The master wants to know. Nothing?
Yeah.
All right. Take another 6 points of slashing damage. Now, if you don't comply, we'll have to maybe loosen your tongue. And he pulls out like this crooked thing, like a little tong that he's kind of holding. It looks like a crude dentist tool. He says, "I will give you one last chance. Speak, or it will be the last thing you said. What did you hear the plans for the church were?"
I know that you're looking for the masks. That's all I know.
Describe the masks.
I know they're important. I know they have something to do with Tiamat. I don't have all the pieces.
He knows too much. And the other guy cracks his knuckles and he said, "I'm gonna take him out now." And he puts his hand on your head. And all of a sudden you hear, "Hey!" You turn around and, hey, if you could describe yourself running towards Bramblewood. Bramblewood?
You see,
Bramble Heartwood.
Bramble Heartwood, yeah.
You see an average-looking human, kind of skinny, and doesn't seem to really have a plan so much, but he's just running towards you, and he has a very angry look on his face. He's just running towards you, and he's raising his hands as he comes, and his eyes are starting to sheath over with a black look.
Among them, you also see Felix firing a shot. So, Felix, if you would take a moment to describe to Bramble Heartwood what you appear like.
You see a tall, slender-looking gentleman in a dark green, forest green cloak with the hood up and a black mask up over his eyes. That's kind of all you can see. 'Cause it's sort of, we are in a cave and it is sort of dark. And he's got a bow and he's firing it at
There's a very large bald one, and there's a very short one with a crooked nose.
I'm going for Fatty.
All right.
I always shoot Fatty first.
Among them, you also see a flaming warhammer begin to light up this dwarven atrium. Felthrin, if you could describe yourself.
So Felthran is a older-looking dwarf, not particularly tall, even for dwarves, and not particularly thick, even for dwarves, but he looks wiry strong. And actually, as you see him starting towards you, maybe you think your eyes are playing tricks on you, because where Felthran was, you now see a dire wolf charging towards...
Okay.
Yeah. Charging towards the enemies.
So, Bramble, the two cultists are obviously diverted in their attention, and their backs are towards you. You have an action. What would you like to do?
Can I try to sort of reverse jump rope to get my hands in front of me?
Yeah. Continue on.
And then I guess with the double fists, try to club the short one in the head or in the neck.
Yeah. I'll give you a high risk, high reward if you would
Okay.
like. Okay, so high risk, it's going to be an acrobatics check.
Okay.
Are you tall enough to hit him in the neck?
A 23 on the acrobatics check.
You definitely obtained the risk, so now you get the reward. Go ahead and make a... I'll let you do a dexterity check on him, as if you're doing it like a simple attack, dexterity attack.
Oh, crit fail.
Fail.
1919-1.
Okay, but you are a halfling, are you not?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Thank you.
Lucky.
I don't think I've ever used this before. It's an 8 this time.
Okay, 8 total with a dex?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so you strike him, and he kind of he notices you turn around, you hit him in the back of the spine, you kind of trip over your feet, but your hands are effectively in front of you, and pummeling him in the back of the spine, his action is thrown off and he has disadvantage on his next action, which it is his turn. So he is pulling out his double scimitars and he is attempting to run over to Hay and take an attack action. However, he's going to get disadvantage. 17 and a 22. Both hit?
That's both hit.
Okay. All right, so you take 18 points of slashing damage and then another 10 points of acid damage.
Oof.
So you notice now his scimitars erupt in this magical spit, and it begins to splatter, and this corrosive acid lingers on the wounds that he's cast. He's standing before you, Hay, grinning.
That
says-
took almost half my hit points.
No one is allowed in the sacred place. You will not take it from the church. You will not take it from the goddess. The other one, however, is going to restrain Bramble. So if you would make an acrobatics check, please.
22.
He rolled a 19. So he goes to grab you, and you wriggle out, and I'll let you describe how you get out of his grapple.
This is the large one coming
Big
at me?
one, yeah, big guy.
I sort of just tuck under his arm. I'm not quite rolling between his legs, but just sort of tuck under his arm.
Awesome. You are currently hidden from line of sight, being under this very large person. Felthrin, it's now your turn.
Is the big guy's back to me?
No. The big guy's back is not to you.
Okay.
Bramble's behind him.
So they're both facing us.
Yes.
All right, then the direwolf is going to go straight for the guy who just worked over my buddy Hay,
Okay.
and he's going to leap at him and try to bite him.
Right over the shoulder of Hay, this wolf just charges. You get pack tactics with advantage.
Correct.
Yep.
It's going to be a 20 to hit, and my damage is 12 points of piercing damage.
The one with the crooked nose takes a gnarly bite. Do you get to do your pounce attack as well? I think he has to make a strength save.
Yeah, he does have to make a strength save or get knocked prone.
All right, well, he rolled a big fat 5.
That's not going to do it.
So you cleanly knock him to the ground right after he is slashing Hay, and his arms go sprawling off to the side, his sword's clattering on the stone architecture. You look above you, and you see the face of King Oleander, the dwarven king, who is now grinning at you. And you hear a voice in your head, Felthrin. The voice says to you, I am Clan Garindan, of war and strategy. The final battle will belong to you, Felthrin. I command you to strike harder. Strike harder. Dwarven God's voice echoes in your ears as you look up, your bristling gray fur shining in the light of your warhammer. Anything else you would like to do?
Well, after hearing the guy tell me to strike harder, I think Felthrin's going to switch back to his dwarven form.
All right.
And stand over the top of this guy with his warhammer.
Your boot flat on his face. It's Felix's turn. What would you like to do?
Well, I shot that arrow at the fat guy.
Right, so that was your intention. We kind of rolled initiative,
Yeah.
so...
Oh, gotcha. I'm
yeah.
still gonna shoot him.
Okay, shooting at the fat guy.
Back to me, right?
No, but you have sneak attack because currently there is an ally within 5 feet as this halfling man is running behind him. So right in the shoulder, the tendon kind of pinning him to the side. Oh, that smarts. The blood begins pooling into his shirt. You still can't see his face. His mask is pulled down. Hey, you are last in the initiative. You are standing up, and Felthrin has resumed form as a dwarf. And the fellow that slashed you is prone on the ground.
Looking down at him, my eyes fully black now.
Mm-hmm.
The infernal fires will take you. And I just wave my hand, and this shimmering, almost heat-like haze hovers over him. He is hexed.
Gotcha.
And then with both hands, just...
Another 12 points as he's blasted. And of course, this haze begins to crackle around him, and his body begins seizing a little bit, and he jolts. You see his lips start to tremor as this horrible... The air is nearly escaping from his lungs. As the Queen of Air and Darkness begins to aid you, the powers of the Feywild are coalescing into this Grovelore citadel. At the top of the round, you hear a roar. A long, low bellow echoing from deep within the citadel. Sound of a dragon purring and rising from its sleep. Bramble, it's now your turn.
I think it's time that we should be going. So he's going to attempt another sort of two-handed bash on the big guy.
Okay.
Another...
Yeah, make a dexterity check.
17.
That's a hit. Boom. Oh, he felt that one. It kind of stung him on the side. So the rest of you can see this nearly naked halfling man tied up in these cords that are binding him, just whacking the back of this very large, over-imposing Conan-like presence. He's definitely giving him a run for his money. Despite taking 2 slashes with a dagger across his chest, he's got 2 little marks where blood is beginning to pool. It's a pretty wild sight. However, it is their turn. So the first one is going to stand up. He's going to take a slashing attack at Felthrin. These blades are looking pretty mean. As he stabs you, he says, "No one would get in the way of the goddess. She owns the world and she has come to claim her own. Get out of the way." or serve her forever. You cannot take this place back, dwarf. The other gentleman is going to attempt to pull out his maul and whack Bramble.
I'm going to use my reaction to do Uncanny Dodge.
As he raises up his maul, you see the acid begin to glow around the maul, and he slams it on you. Evasion, you're able to take half damage. You kind of duck off to the side and only catch the abrasion of this weapon hitting you. Feltherin, it's actually your turn now. The big guy is attacking Bramble, and the guy with the crooked nose and his scimitars have just slashed at you.
Right, I will say, I will take back Grovelore. And I'll come down with him on a hammer. Is he still breathing?
You swing your warhammer, and as you say, taking back Grovelore, smashes on his arm, his shoulder dislocates, and he falls to the ground. Just breathing. He drops his scimitar. He motions over to his counterpart, who is currently just smashing away at this halfling. He has 1 hit point left. He's barely breathing.
I better finish him off. I'll hit him with my second attack then.
I didn't know you had second attack. Okay, go for it.
I do. Does 13 hit?
Yes, of course it hits. You want to kill him?
Yeah, I'm going to kill him.
He's instantly dead. You may describe how you take out this
to kill him, so he did.
cultist.
As he's breathing, I don't think Felfran even stopped to consider what was happening. He hit him in the shoulder. The guy was down, and as he's kind of slumping his head, Felfran just comes up the side of his head.
Okay.
And whether he takes it off or just smashes it in,
The mask just crumples up to the side and caves in on his skull.
All right. Action surge to swing at the big guy. That's going to be a 26 to hit.
You got it. As he's swinging around to the halfling, he gets a warhammer in the back of his scapula.
It's going to be 11 points of bludgeoning and 5 points of fire.
Okay.
And I'm going to goad him, which I think means I get to use my superiority die.
That's correct.
Nice.
Is that a D8? I can't remember.
It is a D8, yeah.
It's only 2 points, but I get 2 more points of damage on him. And he needs to make a wisdom saving throw, or he's going to have disadvantage against anybody but me.
Okay, he's scrambling for this, and you hear him saying, you realize why now. He says, like, to Bramblewood, he says, "For sure you know too much. You're going down. You will not take this information out of here on Grovelore. Say one word and you're dead." Felix, it's your turn. From the shadows.
That's a dirty 20 on to hit. 21 points of damage.
Yeah, that'll do it.
One word! The arrow goes in his head or something.
And Rambo, well, you see him just like pause, and then he's not speaking, and then he's got the arrow sticking out of the back of his neck, and he falls down with the arrowhead implanted into his spine.
Step out of the way as he falls.
What? I can't hear you. Speak up. Oh, you have something in your throat, man. Hold on. And I go retrieve my arrows out of his body.
Did somebody pick up the armor back in the hall, or did we leave it hanging there?
We left it.
We left
Okay,
it.
I'm gonna run back and go get it. Without saying, I just kind of go, oh, because the haze comes off my eyes, and I just, I'll be right back. And then I just
the innocence resumes, and
That's
the
right.
haze, diminutive form, begins scurrying off in almost like frolicking style fashion. You're all standing around. Bramble, I would like you to make the first response to this scene and this situation.
Thank you. But where is he going?
Unless you want to be around here with your twig and two berries kind of flapping around the breeze, you're probably going to go get your clothes, man.
You found my clothes. That's
that's
wonderful. Good. That
I
will be
think
good.
this might fit you.
Does indeed. So he'll take a couple minutes to don.
Don armor.
Wait, are you missing anything else? Is that everything, or was there more?
Well, I came with my weapons, my short swords and my daggers. I haven't seen them. Have you?
Did you see those?
Nah, but here you can have this, and I'm going to give him my two daggers, They're just regular 1d4 daggers. And so here's the thing. I still have Venom Tongue's sword.
You still have the sword?
Yeah, I've been carrying it around. Dude gave it to me.
Okay.
So I've got 3. Here, give him a rapier, man.
Ah, excellent. He
Felthrin, anything you want to do to respond in this situation?
Are you hurt, my friend?
just this. As you saw all my injuries, saw pretty much everything. Yeah, not too bad.
Okay. Then Felthran's going to reach over and put his hand on Hayes' shoulder and say, "My friend, he cut you good." And he's going to cast Cure Wounds on him.
While he's doing that, while Felthrin is attending to Hay, he's rummaging through one of his pouches. I found this outside. I thought maybe, I don't know when the last time you ate it was, but maybe you want some of this. And I hand him the string of dried fruit that I picked up off the ground outside.
These dried peaches are connected together with like some sinew of animal, very large collection of pearls that you would hang around your neck and then eat over the trek.
Bramble will tuck into those pretty greedily. He's
Felix
missed a
pulls
meal
up
or
one of
two.
his little cigarettes made out of halfling weed and says, "Fancy one, man?"
Ooh, I haven't seen those in a while. Yes. I've been without some of my former customs for a while. Not a lot of luxury lately.
Now, how did you come to be here, my friend?
Well, they caught me. I guess I can assume that you're enemies of the cult, yes?
Yes.
Enemies of the cult are friends of mine. They caught me. I was working my way in deeper and deeper, trying to get closer, trying to get information, and they found me out.
And this is what they do to everyone?
I've heard them treating people this way before. I haven't seen it with my own eyes. They certainly are capable of some savagery.
I hate people who pick on others.
That makes me like you.
So, they seem to think you had some information, mate.
Yeah, I've learned some things. I've been trying to find out what I can, trying to hurt them in the biggest way that I can. And what seems to be very important to the folks around here are these dragon masks. There's a black one here somewhere, and I've heard about a blue as well.
Well, we've come for the black dragon mask.
Ah, that's great. So actually, I know just where it is. I was actually trying to get it, to sneak it out when I was caught.
There's a woman with the party. She is tall. She looks a lot like Hay, maybe just a little bit older. Her hair pulled back in braids, and she feebly says to you, "What exactly do these dragon masks do? Why does the cult of Tiamat want them?"
There are, I believe, 5, and when they're all together, they say that will make it easier to summon Tiamat, to raise Tiamat. I have no interest in allowing that to happen, so any masks that we can keep out of the hands of the followers of Tiamat is a success.
Do you know how many they have acquired?
I know that the black is here somewhere. The blue is distant. I believe the other 3 have already been taken. I'm not sure who by exactly, or maybe I am.
No, you're not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it the red one that, what's her face is on the boat going towards?
Blue. That's blue.
He's going for the blue one. Okay.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
So Felix, when he mentions the blue mask, the intel that you receive from the mouth returns to you.
Yeah, that's on an island up north, man. We're gonna have to give that one a pass eventually, but it's coming back.
That's right, Felix. I believe you may have alluded that your friend acquired the mask somehow.
Hey, well, if she is half as evil as I think she is, yeah, she's gonna kill that guy and get that mask. But I wouldn't, I wouldn't really say she's my friend. Ex-friend.
Well, exactly. I think you said she was your ex. So.
Yeah, ex. Yeah. Whatever. Anyway. Oh yeah. Hey man. Hey, come here. Here, take this too, just in case.
Hey, Ted.
Thank you, friend.
I'm gonna want that back.
You've established that the red mask, the white mask, and the green mask have been acquired. This blue mask has gone into the hands of Macabella the pirate, who apparently stole it from the cult. Black Dragon Mask is somewhere in here, and you were on your way to find it, Bramble, when you were apprehended by the cult, overrun by them. And in terror, they tortured you until they found out how much information you knew before delivering you over to the master. Okay, while you're in this chamber, is there anything else anybody wanted to do or maybe converse or any questions you would have about each other? And Bramble, you might have some questions, and you see this interesting sundry of characters gathered together in this atrium.
What are you doing exactly? Enemies of the cult, but why are you here? You said to get the mask. What is your goal?
Well, we figure, a bunch of people controlling dragons is bad. Also, Truck Stack over here used to live here, so he's kind of hot to evict some people.
Well, I'm glad you came my way.
Glad we came your way too. Felthorn's gonna move the bodies into the corner,
Okay.
so that they won't be quite as obvious if somebody walks into that room.
As you pull them, the regalia kind of like shifts to the side, and you see that but the dragon masks are one of them is bent pretty badly from your warhammer. The other one is still intact, but it gives this ghastly, almost undead dragon-like visage with horns protruding off to the side, creating a terrible shadow.
I don't know if this is okay or not, but I might want to take that. Maybe we could find a use for it.
Yeah,
I don't want it.
We could probably sneak in with it. What are they wearing aside from just the mask? Like anything like super descriptive?
Very large animal furs, like parkas covering their bodies. Otherwise, just loosely fitting clothes. They have any kind of supplies you would need. As you go through their supplies, Felthrin, you obtain all of Bramble's supplies. Anything that he was carrying on his person has been looted and pillaged by these cultists. Brandon, is there anything particular you would find in there besides packs and goods and wares?
There's not, and there's a reason for not.
Okay, cool. Okay.
But anything he finds, he offers to Bramble first. Is this yours, my friend?
It is the trusty tools of my trade. So you see basically a disguise kit, which has been used somewhat, and you actually see, I guess, the light from your hammer would have lit up his face well enough that at least a while ago you would have seen there's some vestiges of paint on his face, but it's mostly been wiped and sweated off. So that's the big thing that he's most interested in. Otherwise, it's just typical stuff.
That's it. Felthorn's not going to take anything for himself. He's more interested in moving on.
Hey, we'll take the intact mask and try and hold it under one arm and then maybe shift it around a different way and hold it under the other, trying to find a comfortable way to carry this thing.
The most comfortable way would be on your face. It's got some pretty good leather straps that secure and hold it very much like a baseball helmet.
I want to try and use mending on the other one.
Oh,
My cantrip.
yes, easy enough. The Warhammer
Right.
didn't did that bad. You were able to refashion it. You
Yeah,
have 2
sweet.
functioning dragon masks.
Would
Hey,
anyone
man.
like this one?
Oh yeah, hey, I'll take it.
All right, so I toss him the one the mask formerly known as dented.
Yeah.
Over to Felix, and I'll hold on to the other one.
And I feel like Hay would have missed this, but Felix would have caught this. Felix, you notice there is an insignia on the side of one of the masks,
What is it?
and it gives the rank 2 out of 5. All right.
And we'll walk behind Felthrin and Bramble. So if anyone comes across us, we'll look like we're guiding them ahead of us.
Okay, so yeah, I was going to ask who's entering the room first.
Felthrin will go first if that's the plan, because he wants to lead the way.
All right, so the big room. As you cross the threshold, the evidence of overgrowth soon becomes apparent, but still the witness of the dwarven craft gods in your memory. The towering ceiling expands above you and expands above your sight, and countless stairwells descend into the earth to your right and left. Each stairway is nestled by a rich design of dwarven script, indicating the destination below. The most amazing sight to behold is the radiating fractures of light, as this room is illuminated by crystals embedded into the ceiling, snatching the light far above the forest canopy. And with every flicker of your warhammer and any light reflecting, it shines back and forth, creating this moving display of light. It's like a strobe light, disco light, illuminating the ground floor of this atrium.
Obviously, it's familiar room to him.
Very familiar.
So he would know the best route to take to be have the most chance of being unseen. Does everything seem to be the way he remembered it, so that he would know where to go? If he's just going to try to advance into the room, I think. Well, Bramble said that he knew where the mask was. So I don't know if that meant he knew where the mask was in here, or if he knew where the mask was in general, like it's here somewhere. I thought we had that conversation. Bramble, do you know exactly where it is?
I know exactly where it is.
You would guess that it's in somewhere the cult would be hiding out. But you're not sure where they would be hiding in an old dwarven citadel. You would have to track them.
Okay.
All right. Well, Felthrin should know. Felthrin should know what would be the most strategic place for them to hide out, because he's familiar with this place. So I think his goal is to move to where he thinks would be the most strategic place to hide out.
Okay. And what other question do you have about this room?
Is he seeing any cultists in there at this moment?
No, this room is empty.
Okay. So the action is to plan on leading the group in the most stealthy direction towards the most likely strategic spot for them to be hiding out.
4 stairwells on your left and 4 on your right. One of them appears to have been receiving much more traction as the moss around the entranceway has been patted down. It appears the forge, the old blacksmith, the old smith hasn't had much traction. Above you in the dwarven runes etched out the Forge of Power. Felix, you are next. What 2 questions do you have about this room?
How deep is it?
About 80 feet high, 80 feet wide, 40 feet wide, 80 feet deep. Yeah, it's one level, but there's 4 stairwells going down on each side, different rooms. And you see the same thing that Felthrin sees. One of the mossy paths seems to be more overrun, as this is probably the path everyone takes.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what the mouth told me, because he gave me some real specific info too on this mask.
He told you it was in the hands of a certain dragonborn sorcerer named Rezmir.
Yeah, and
Rezmir is an old known priestess of the Church of Tiamat.
Okay. Hey, Bramble. Do you know whereabouts Resmir might be? Does that name sound familiar?
Resmir. It's a very familiar name.
Yeah,
You saw
she's
her?
nice.
The day she approached Heartwood Manor, leading minions of humans mindless with ambition, torching the estate. She cackled and laughed, and you saw her from the bushes, the brambles nearby.
Yes, I know her well. Been pursuing her for some time now. A little bit of revenge is brewing. But I don't know where she is.
Alright, so my second question is, so we got the four stairways, you said one of them has moss, two of them have moss, one of them looks well-traveled. So three of them don't look well-traveled at all, and one looks very well-traveled?
Right. There's 7 that don't look well-traveled, and one of them that is a little bit more obvious.
Do I see any other, like, footfalls? Like, in other words, like, this is a pretty old place, so I imagine it's, like, real dirty
Yeah?
on the ground, so foot traffic should be easy to see where it's coming in and out of.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you're looking around. You do see another set of footprints that is leading towards a room to the left. It's not as many, and they're a lot more cunning in how they leave their tracks. But you've picked up on it once or twice. And you pick up, there's a couple old gnawed bones that are left behind. Very similar to what you saw before in the camp.
Ooh. I'm gonna go check that out. But I'm gonna I'm gonna be like, hey,
Yes?
yeah, you, oi, and tell them what I found. Like, what? Look at this.
So, hey, yeah, you see very quickly, too, as Felix kind of motions towards you, not where Felthrin's looking, but off to the left. There is, what you see is not much difference than any other place in the room, but you do notice the gnawed bone that is similar to the campsite. And there's a distinct reptilian smell that is just very familiar in this area. But you have 2 questions as well about this room. What would you like to know?
Before we start splitting up to the different corners, I just breathe quietly. Oh, Felthrin, this is beautiful. Is this what all dwarven architecture is like?
I don't know about all dwarven architecture. This is Grovelore, but
The light
it's
is just...
it's close to this.
Wow. For a question, I want to ask, we had heard the dragon up above.
Yes. Yep.
Are we hearing that now?
No, not at this moment.
Does the smell seem particularly strong in any part of the room? Like walking by each of the stairwells, do I smell any drafts coming up or anything like that?
Yes. The room with the old gnawed bone has a very strong smell. Reminds you a lot of Venom Tongue.
Okay.
And the way
So
she
I-
approached you.
I'll peer into that room
Okay.
with the
It's
good
a-
old devil sight.
It's a long, winding tunnel, descending down and snaking off to the left.
I think this might be the way to the dragon.
Do we want to go to the dragon, or do we want to find the cultist?
I don't know.
Maybe we should just try to get the mask. I think that was that Resmir.
Okay, yeah. So then we know where to stay away from.
Sounds good, hey?
Bramble, you have 2 questions about this room. Anything you'd like to know?
Do I have any idea, either from looking around or from my knowledge of the cult in Grovelore, how many people would be moving through here, or how many people would be here?
Yeah, you've tracked them for a while. There's about 22 cultists in and out at any time. And as far as the lizard folk slaves, there's about anywhere from 10 to 15 that have been going back and forth. Most of them camped outside Grovelore, although some of them were reporting to duty inside here.
Can I identify this smell as being specifically lizard folk as opposed to...
You can identify it as both, actually.
Okay.
The hallway to the left that is of interest has both a dragon smell and remnants of lizard folk slaves, and the room to the right has really no distinct smell at all, but lot more foot traffic.
I'll sort of move in Felthran's direction and say, I think you're right about the dragon being that way, but maybe the less dangerous foes are this way. Dangerous still, but not so bad.
I think we should go to the right. I think we should check, follow the path of more foot traffic.
Felthrin, you get a strong skip in your heart when you cross through this next threshold to the right. You hear the voice echo in your head again. Strike harder. Show yourself cunning and win my approval. You feel the tips of your fingers begin to tingle, and the old guidance spell that you once used before, since you obeyed Clangeddon, now is improved. Your guidance is a D6 instead of a D4. You begin to feel your heart almost come alive as you cross through this area. Towers of the dwarven gods, chiseled from the illustrious molds from the belly of the earth, stand and watch over this long hallway. You see one after the other: Moradin, Clangeddon, Yontha, the goddess of fertility, the goddess of hearth and home, the god of war and strategy, the god of crafting, Grond, with his chisels and his archway. As y'all are seeing Felthrin, you're beginning to piece together the different gods that value the dwarven culture. Moradin being the chief of them, Clangeddon valuing war strategy, Gond valuing crafting and discovery and creativity, and of course Yontha valuing bonding of hearth and home. As you're passing through this, what seems like enormous hallway, you're watching Felthrin come into his own. So, Felthrin, if you would describe your response, and the three of you have a chance to respond to Felthrin as he walks through this very holy area.
The gods are speaking to me, my friends. Victory is at hand. I will take us there. And you will be my help. We will get it done together. Put my hand on Hayes' shoulder, and I say, we will do it together. And I cast guidance on Hay. Felthrin gets his little dwarven smile. He doesn't want to chuckle loud because they're trying to be stealthy, but it's gonna look like he's doing his normal thing, but it's not gonna be loud. It's gonna be like, and then he's gonna turn around and keep going.
Felix, Hay, Bramble, you're watching all this take place. Any particular response as you're moving through this very sacred hallway?
I feel very invigorated. His words have left me with a sense of being able to accomplish anything. So I just, right after him.
Bramble stops for a minute at the god of the war and strategy. He's studied a lot about him, read a lot about him, and he takes a moment to sort of appreciate the visage.
Felthrin, this is the god that spoke to you recently. It appears as you attracted his attention, and he has given you a command to strike hard. And indeed, above, if anyone reads Dwarvish, they can see above Clangeddon's name as he's holding a large battle axe. Strike hard, strike true.
Felix, anything particular you're responding to?
Let's go kill some fools. And he knocks an arrow.
A massive forge lies still in the smithery, where the breath of this beast breathes no more. For none skilled in the arts of blacksmith could harness the force of strength that this machine holds. The dormant energy hangs low in the air as the fine steel beast shimmers in the lamplight of the Warhammer. You are in the forge, and as you pass through this room, Felthrin, you are assessing the value of Grovelore is well and intact. In fact, it is nearly in perfect shape. Despite the clan falling to end fighting, there appears no remains of the dwarves here. And on the ground, lying before you in clear, plain sight, is an old family relic of yours. It waits for you. Would you please describe what this relic is?
It's a necklace, and on the necklace is a charm of a warhammer, and I would recognize it as there were several of them because we. As many of us as could make it happen had them forged to be similar, but I would recognize this one as one that belonged to my more immediate family. Actually belonged to my uncle, and you can tell because while the chain is similar on all of them, the warhammer is just slightly different. And I would recognize it even after all these years. The subtle differences that this belonged to my uncle, Uncle Gundren. Yeah,
nice.
It must have just been trampled through the years, and it doesn't have any magical property or anything. It's just a dwarven necklace, probably just stepped over for the last 100 years because who cares? It's not.
Yeah, and I imagine the warhammer hanging down like a T, and the beads running through the warhammer dangling on the side, so you can see it kind of like bold on your chest.
Correct.
Yeah.
Uncle Gundren's necklace. Oh, I haven't seen one of these in 100 years. And looking around, making sure there's nobody watching, it's not a trap. If he feels like it's safe, he's going to bend down to pick it up.
Go ahead and make a perception check then.
It's going to be a 13.
Okay, it itself is not trapped, but there is a trap in this room.
So Felthran's going to pick up the necklace, and when he realizes that it didn't do anything and there's nobody came running in, he's going to say, "This was my Uncle Gundren's. I will take it for him now and give it back to him another day, but I think maybe there's danger in this room. We should be careful." And he's going to put the necklace on.
Lady Norvice comes to ask you a question, placing her hand on your shoulder, but as soon as you mention danger, she backs away and looks around, ceasing her question. The rest of you, do you have any questions about this room?
Is Bramble familiar with the types of traps that the cult likes to use? I mean, presumably acid-themed, but what types of triggers?
Mm-hmm. In this very large room, it appears that there's quite a few hiding places. This would be a great place for an ambush. Felix, any questions you have?
Yeah, entrances and exits.
There's the exit behind you leading back into the hallway, and make an investigation check.
5, so.
5. So in the very center of this blacksmith is a very large forge that looks like it needs about 8 dwarves to manifest to run. So 4 on one side and 4 on the other. The billow leads to a large chimney that is going up into the ceiling. And around there are certain like little tents that have been made up of makeshift stone and rubble, little pieces of places that could be hiding spots. It is built into the cavern of the earth, so the walls are smooth, often overlaid with crystal, and there are passages that kind of snake off into the darkness that even your sight cannot peer. And again, you kind of guess that this layout would be a good place for an ambush, lots of places to hide around. But the main piece is just the very large 40 by 40 forge in the center of this room. Otherwise, it's empty space.
I'm going to... Is the forge active, did you say? No,
it's
okay.
not.
I'm going to stand with my back to the forge and just kind of stare in one direction. Doesn't really matter which.
Okay.
Just keeping an eye out to make sure that we're not snuck up on while Felthrun is remembering his uncle.
Okay. As Felix begins looking around for entrances and exits, Felix, you feel your hand squish against something slimy, cold, and sticky, and it burns with a corrosive. This slime of ooze begins to descend down on top of you and tries to engulf you. So, everyone roll initiative as the ambush has begun. Felix, lucky for you, you were up first. So in this small area, you've been trapped by this gray ooze, and it begins to slime all over you. It is trying to burn away at your skin. What would your response be?
Well, I'd try to get off me as fast as possible.
Okay, do you want to disengage, or would you like to attack?
Yeah, I want to disengage. Like, oh, hey, ooh.
You back away, and you see this ooze that's just like sliming for it, and then you hear the sound of boot steps. Cultists begin circling around you, and a black dragonborn appears from the darkness. And she says, in Draconic, "You are disturbing a peaceful ceremony in veneration to the goddess. State your business and leave us."
My name is Felthrun. This is my home. You will give me the mask, and you will leave Grovelore.
Ooh. Yep, what he said.
Okay. You see in her that she does have the black dragon mask. She puts it on her face and says, "No, with this mask, I am in charge." And she begins to utter like this barking sound, calling out in Draconic, "Come here, boy. Come here. Your master is calling." You begin to feel the rush of dragon wings, the hot air beginning to billow up in the room. And she says, "It's only a matter of time. You've disturbed the peaceful ceremony of Tiamat. You are not welcome here, and you will not have the mask." Okay, Felix, what you gonna do?
All right, so I'm going to spend a sorcery point so I can cast Witch Bolt without having to do anything. I'm going to shoot her with it. And I'm also going to spend another... Hold on. I'm going to cast that as a second level.
Okay, go for it.
Because I have the slots for it.
But describe what's going on, like, and where this magic is coming from for Felix.
Right from my face. Right out of my eyes. Like right into her. Like...
The cultists begin to move in to defend. They begin to like awaken from their ceremony, begin to shake themselves out of their stupor, reaching for scimitars and trying to protect their lady. Next up would be Bramble.
Bramble will, seeing and recognizing her, he's going to have a bit of tunnel vision for a little while here.
Okay.
And pull out the rapier and basically charge her.
No sneak attack if you're just rushing up into it, but
Yep.
you begin to go to the side. one of the cultists is going to use the reaction to defend her.
Okay.
Okay, so they're going to... They get a natural 1, so...
Okay.
You quickly, parry them off to the side, so you are allowed to make your attack.
That is only a 13, unfortunately.
13, she's kind of shocked to the side, and she sees you coming, and she instinctively pulls out this long sword and parries it off your weapon, and she says, "Ugh!" The bolt's still coming into her skin, but she manages to grin, spit a little acid out of her mouth, pull the dragon mask to the side, and say, "I recognize you."
You recognize my brother. And he's going to use his Master of Tactics class feature,
Nice.
which allows him to take the help as a bonus action.
Ooh, nice. Anyone in
So
particular?
it is the next attack.
So, Felthrin, your turn.
Belthran is going to charge in with his hammer. He's going to strike hard.
The
I want the
cultist-
mask. That's it. That's what I'm going for.
Cultist is going to use the reaction to attempt to defend her, so
Okay.
they get a 14. You have to beat a 14.
17 to hit.
Okay, you do hit. Parry this one off to the side, just charging through, knocking the cultist to the ground.
That's
Make
going to
your
be
attack.
14 points of bludgeoning damage and 1 point of fire damage. And he gets a second attack. Oh, that's only 11.
11 misses. She's
Yep.
ducking to the side. The dragon mask is beginning to glow a very dark black color, almost like it's soaking up all the colors nearby. Anything else?
He's gonna try to goad her also. That's 4 more points of bludgeoning damage, and she needs to make the wisdom save.
She gets a natural 1 on her wisdom save.
You'll fight me.
All right, there you go. That's what I wanted.
Yes, I will.
See, your warhammer hurts a little bit harder than his weenie witch bolts.
Yeah, at this point, I mean, he's... who else is in the room? You said there was something slimy that fell from the ceiling. There were
It's
other
acting- yeah,
cultists.
it's acting as a trap and an area effect. These oozes are kind of like assimilating to the side, making it very difficult to move in and around. You are subject to their attacks at any time. The cultists are kind of like scrambling, but at this round, they're scrambling around, not really organized. So it's a little bit of a time battle, depending on how many rounds it takes you guys to win.
Okay,
And
well,
currently, she's standing there and she's just getting assaulted by everyone.
I'll join the fun.
All right, well, she's going to pull out her great sword, and she's goaded by Felthrin, so she has to attack him.
Oh, she can attack other people at disadvantage if she wants to.
Okay, well, that's going to be a natural 20 to hit you. She pulls out her great
That hits.
sword, and she says, "Feel the pain of Hazaron." Well, Bramble, you hear her calling for Agamemthor. "Black Dragon, come and aid me. Your mistress needs you." She pulls out the sword, and she does a total of 26 points of slashing damage to you.
Oh, jeez.
Oh my
And then
goodness.
another 14 points of acid damage.
Whoa. All right.
You cannot regain any hit points, but I do need you to make a constitution save. The oozes begin to move around you, so I'm going to roll a d4. Hey, you take... I need you to make a dexterity saving throw as you're dodging these acidic oozes that are creeping up, grabbing at your ankles.
8.
8. That is a fail.
Oh.
9 points of acid damage begin to burn at your feet as these oozes are sneaking up around you.
Ow!
Okay, top of the round. It is Felix's turn.
Yeah, take 15 more hit points off of your life there, lady.
Okay.
Do
As
that,
Felix is concentrating, you see an ooze beginning to drip near your back. It's trying to wriggle around and slap at you. The cultists are assembling their gear and coming out of their trance. Again, there are about maybe 10 of them that are looking around, grabbing at weapons. And then you hear the sound of dragon wings beating. And of course, you've got your witch bolt launched on her, but nearby, you don't see anything else.
Because I was gonna shoot her one more time and then like bail out, so I'm not in a prone position. If I can do that, I get an additional action after.
Don't think you
Or
get
no, I
an-
can only do Witch Bolt, can I?
Yeah,
Okay, never mind.
it's like you automatically hold Witch Bolt as your action.
All right.
And you don't need to roll Wild Magic, do you? For that?
Nope. 'Cause
Yeah.
I have as long as I hold the spell, it's like it counts as the same time I cast it.
Awesome. Okay, Bramble, now it's your turn.
Seeing that she seems to be focused on Felthran,
Yep.
he's going to again strike with the rapier, but also like in a very flashy way to try to distract her. So again, using the help as a bonus action.
Very cool. And you get sneak attack this time.
If I hit, let's see.
Okay.
19,
That's a hit.
15, and another d6. That is 20 damage. Piercing.
Bramble,
Good roll.
you take her life. It's indeed what you want. So her life is in your mercy, and you see the opening. You've studied Dragonborn, lizard folk, dragons. You know all their internal organs and anatomy. You know the heart hangs a little bit low to the left. You see the opening as the witch bolt is like distracting her and causing her to seize up. Her chest rises open.
There's still a flourish of the blade as he's planning to distract her, so it's a kind of a wide arc, and he comes in with a kind of a weird angle for a rapier, and just happens to catch her between the ribs and sinks in deep.
Nicely done.
She collapses and grabs hold of the rapier and pulls it closer and closer in, and she spits acid near your face. I would like you to make a dexterity saving throw.
All right. Ah, terrible. Less than 10.
You are worthy to take the dragon mask. And she falls down to the ground. The mask falls off of her and begins to descend into a faint glow, and then finally turning off. Hazardon, the longsword, clatters to the ground. The greatsword clatters to the ground. And you see, crumpled up in her hands, is a piece of paper that simply says, "The Desert of Scorna." The cultists then begin backing away, fearing for their life at these sojourners that have wrecked this ceremony. The oozes instinctively back off, and the area is quiet.
No more dragon approaching.
Seems right now, no, as the mask is turned off.
Let's get out of here.
Should we take the mask?
Yes, grab the mask. Grab the sword.
Okay. I grab the mask. I guess I'm closest to that.
Felthran will grab the sword and start leading the way back out.
One of the cultists approaches you, Hay, and pulls at your clothing. She says, "Who are you?"
Hey!
The other cultists pull her to the side and say, "Kalisa, they'll kill you. They are not servants of the goddess." And she looks and says, "You serve the lady.
I do.
I saw you in my dreams. I knew this would happen. At first I thought it was the goddess speaking to me. I thought I was blessed. But this voice was cold and icy and frozen and distant. She told me to give you this." And she reaches out her hand, and in her hand is a small black diamond of 12 sides. And she hands it to you. She said it's to take you home. "Kalisa, I told you, stay away from them. They will kill you." Felix
How are you responding to this situation? And is there anything you're doing in the meantime?
Yeah, I'm looting the dead body.
Rezmir, the Black Dragonborn sorcerer?
You said my witch bolt was weak. Also, I'm taking that piece of paper.
Bramble, did you take the piece of paper?
Yeah, unless someone else took it.
He would have seen it, but not really known its significance.
So Felix, you see the same thing. It's got like a little bitty map drawn, the desert of Scorna.
Well, it's warmer than here. I grab it, put it in my pocket. What's on her person?
Okay.
I'm literally going like doot down. What's in her pockets? What she got?
Yeah, she's got a number of like gems that are used for authority and strength. A lot of times to throw your weight around and collecting them from various cultic members. There's a total of 50 gold of gem. Okay, you know what I wrote? Felix discovers a magic item. All right, so she has a common magic, uncommon magic item on her. What particular thing interests Felix as you begin going through her person?
Well, Felix is like lately looking a lot skinnier and slightly taller lately since the magic. He's becoming like really like light doesn't hurt him, but he doesn't want to be in the light. He kind of wants to be in the back. He's kind of feeling like kind of like spidery in the way he would attack. I guess I don't know. Like he's feeling that dark elf side of him.
Yeah.
Is there anything that would give like some sort of buff, not necessarily to attack, but just some sort of like sneakiness?
Something to make him more sneaky?
Yeah.
Okay. I got it. You do find a small ring on her middle finger. It's shiny, and for now, it appears pretty valuable, but you don't know exactly what it does.
And he's not stupid to put a ring on his finger. He doesn't know what it is, so it goes in his little pouch.
Okay, good deal.
He's like, this and the knife for getting evaluated by somebody later, so let's put those in here.
So obviously a distraction is occurring. The cultists just nearing by, and one of them goes to say something to Felix, and the other one pulls them back, and they just seem scared and terrified. How can they do this to the goddess? She will be so displeased. They've taken out one of the priestesses. And
I'm going to shoot fireball at their feet. Go away! Boom!
They begin backing away. The goddess will have you! And they begin descending into darkness.
Run!
Just
Run down the thing.
Scattering like cockroaches caught in the middle of the night. Kalisa says to you, she's the last one there, and says, I think Tiamat wants you to have this. The lady, she said her name was. Will you not take it?
Sure. So I take it.
She puts her head down and looks down and says, the priestess is dead. Tiamat will be displeased. You will all meet your fate in the desert of Scorna. She turns around and begins walking.
Oi!
She looks back at you, Felix.
I walk over towards her. She's not a dragon, and she's not a goddess. She's evil, and she's tricked you and deceived you. And he's a raccoon.
It's not true. She is the goddess of all creation.
If it was possible for her to be the goddess of creation, how could we easily walk out here and kill your priestess in no time flat? She doesn't love you.
I admit it is disconcerting.
The lady is more worthy of your devotion than this evil, five-headed not dragon. She's not a dragon. Consider your life.
Do you mean
Don't do this.
the Lady of Winter? The one that came in my dreams? This is terribly disconcerting, and my faith has faltered.
Yeah.
Time. Kalisa then begins turning around, destitute in despair, at the loss of her church, the loss of her cult, the loss of her family and her priestess. Wearing nothing more than a simple linen gown, she gathers her things and heads out into the darkness.
Oi, come with us!
I do not care. And she keeps on walking, Felix.
We need to go.
Yeah.
Where do you leave?
Back out the front door.
Yeah, man.
Hey, as you're walking past, your mother is standing a little bit taller and she says, I must get to Waterdeep now. We've got the Black Dragon Mask. We have leverage. This will work. And you hear something in the darkness. You see a small patch of snow as you exit the ancient archway of the dwarven citadel of Grovelore. And a small little knoll appears before you, and there is a face that rises from the snow, a body of shoulders and arms, a woman guised in frosted ice. Says, you have done. None of you see this. You just see Hay walking towards a pile of snow.
Don't eat yellow snow.
I offer you a gift. Would you request anything from the Lady of Winter?
I don't think so.
Do you have the diamond?
It's right here.
That is your keepsake, your sign that you belong to me. It is a mark and will not leave you. Would you come into my courts? Would you serve in my temple? For I have many who need your compassion in my cold and cruel court.
I don't like to be cold.
Do you have your metal, your heated metal?
Yeah, right here.
She focuses on it. It gets hotter and hotter and hotter and burns in your hand and begins melting into your skin. Your veins begin to fill up with fire and heat. You are instantly warmed as if you were standing in a hearth of a living room surrounded by a fireplace. The snow around you begins to melt as you step.
Huh.
Even with that, you are welcome in my court.
But I serve the Lady of Air and Darkness.
And winter.
What would I be doing?
Many of the goblins have become refugees. The ones who have escaped Kubarayag and Maglubuyet. They are in need of compassion, which my court has none of. But you, my servant, are full of it.
Well,
Frozen Lady, halfway melded into this snowy knoll, reaches out a frosted-tipped hand to you and says, it is your choice, and it is my offer.
but what about my friends? They're going into danger.
They will go to the desert of Scorna, and they will attempt to stop this fiend from entering into the plains. I cannot see if they will succeed, but I know they will try. It is your choice, Hay.
I turn around with a very weary expression on my face.
What's wrong, Hay?
I have to make a decision.
What is that?
Whether to go be with my lady or to stay with you.
Well, hey,
I don't know what to do.
You've always wanted to be with your lady.
I have.
We will miss you. But maybe, and he'll look at Bramble, Maybe Bramble will join us as we continue forward.
As long as you're seeking to stop Tiamat,
We are.
I will go with you.
What, you're leaving me? What?
Well,
What? What are you gonna do with all the money you've got in your pockets?
well, I don't know. To turn back to the lady. What do I do with all my stuff?
Besides the diamond, you have need of nothing. My servants will attend to you.
What if I want to come back and say hello every now and then? Could I do that?
There are always doorways from our world into this one, for it is the same, and the roads run parallel. At times, they intersect, and at times, they divide.
Well, then maybe I can look forward to when they intersect. But it
Hey,
sounds
what
like
about your mum?
Your mother looks at you
my mother.
and she says, "Hey, is she really talking to you?"
She is.
She looks at the snow. She looks back at you. You're melting the ice.
She did something to me.
2 days ago, I was terrified to go back to Waterdeep. I thought they wouldn't have me. It had been 13 years since I had helped anyone. But you talked me out of the pit. You brought me out of the depression. You saved me from the hag. Giving birth to you was my salvation. If it is to the lady you must go, and I will let you go again. That is good news. She has taken care of you so far. I hope she has something amazing for you truly are amazing. And she reaches forward, grabs your shoulders, and embraces you. A tear streaks down her face, and for the first time, you see a full-fledged smile on her lips. Her crow's feet crinkling in the frosted winter frigid air as the wind picks up and the snow begins to fall again. The hand is extended toward you, Hay.
We will
She
make
looks-
sure your mom gets to Waterdeep.
I'll hold you to it, and I'll see you again.
I hope so, eh?
Thank you for everything fell through.
Thank you, eh?
I'll miss you. And so I turn and I put my hand in the outstretched hand.
The rest of you begin to see Hay's hand turn into a dissipating pile of snow.
And my
From
clothes
his- yeah.
and everything just go. So all
As
my
long
stuff
as
is
the
there in a
mask
pile.
drops.
Yeah, everything.
Yeah, the mask.
So you gotta have the
Everything.
mask, dude.
Everything on Hay's personal effects, all his earthly possessions crumple to the ground, and he blows away in a pile of wind. And you see a shimmering reflection of a tall snow maiden walking side by side with a diminutive Hay walking into the forest. Hey, you turn around, look back, and you see through a frosted glass a short dwarf, a young halfling man, and a tall dark elf standing next to your mother. Through the frosted glass, you see them. And as you turn towards the Feywild, the parallel universe, you find yourself in Cryptogarden Forest, surrounded by fairies, a frosted white dragon, and the lady, the Queen of Air and Darkness. And so our story concludes for tonight.